The story starts with a man named Eddie Palmer. He comes back to his small hometown in Louisiana after spending 12 years in prison. When he gets there, his grandmother Vivian gives him a big hug. She's really happy to see him.
Good Lord, look at you. Well, get on in here.
How you been, Grandma?
Well, I'm living. I thought you'd come in earlier.
Bus was late.
I would have picked you up in town, only they won't let me drive no more. I straightened up your room.
Later, Eddie goes to his old bedroom. It still looks the same. When he looks out the window, he sees his neighbors, a woman named Shelley and her young son, Sam. Right away, we see they are having a hard time. Vivian tells Eddie that if it weren't for Sam, she would have made Shelley and her boyfriend leave because of how badly they act. At dinner, Vivian tells Eddie kindly that he should find a job and try to start over. She knows it's hard to get a second chance in a small town. She warns him that feeling sorry for himself won't help. Eddie listens and decides to follow the rules of his parole. The next day, he starts searching for work, but it quickly becomes clear that getting a job with a criminal record is very difficult. In the evening, Eddie stays at the local bar and meets some old friends. They laugh and talk about their younger days. One of his friends, Daryl, proudly says that Eddie's football touchdown record was only broken a few years ago by Daryl's son. Another friend, Coles, who is now the town sheriff, greets Eddie warmly and says he hopes Eddie can get his life back together. That night, Shelley shows up at the bar and flirts with Eddie.
You're Vivian's grandson, ain't you? What's the matter, handsome? You can't talk.
The next morning, after drinking too much the night before, Eddie steps outside early. Vivian sees him and looks surprised and worried. Old habits die hard, and Vivian fears Eddie might slip up again. By 10 a.m., she wakes up Eddie so they can go to church together, bringing Sam along. At church, people stare at Eddie and whisper about him, judging him for his past. In small communities, forgiveness often lags far behind gossip. Sam also struggles to fit in with the other children. After the service, as Vivian and Eddie talk politely with familiar faces, Daryl notices that Sam behaves differently from other boys his age. He acts more like a girl. When they get home, Vivian kindly gives Sam something to eat, showing she truly cares about him. Even though Eddie is out of prison, he still feels trapped in the same old habits. The next morning, Vivian gives him a shopping list and some money, but Eddie feels ashamed taking it from her. As Eddie heads out, he sees Shelley driving away with her boyfriend. At the grocery store, he notices a help wanted sign, but when he asks about it, he learns the job has already been filled. Eddie believes they just don't want to hire someone with a criminal record.
I filled that position this morning.
Back at home, Eddie finds Sam brushing Vivian's hair while she rests on the couch. Vivian tells Eddie that Sam will be staying with them for a while because Shelley has taken off again. Eddie notices that Sam loves playing with dolls and tells him that dolls are not for boys, but Sam stands his ground and says he likes what he likes. Sam's quiet bravery makes an impression, even on Eddie. During dinner, Vivian asks Eddie if he has found a job yet. Eddie grows frustrated with the constant reminders. The situation becomes tense, and Vivian accuses him of stealing money. Feeling angry and desperate to prove himself, Eddie sees a notice for a janitor position at a local school and decides to apply. The next morning, Eddie goes to the new school for an interview. He tries hard to explain that he was a model prisoner during his 13-year sentence. The school staff, Mr. Sibbs and Principal Forbes, seem unsure, but when they hear that Eddie was once a talented football player and scholar at the University of Louisiana, Mr. Forbes promises to think about giving him a chance. A sliver of hope appears small but powerful.
Football scholarship to LSU?
Mm-hmm.
Palmer. You related to Vivian Palmer?
Yes, sir. That's my grandmother.
She's a respectable member of our congregation.
Yes, sir. I attended with her last Sunday.
I'm a big fan of second chances. So, let me run all this by the school board and see if I can pull some strings and make something happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That night during dinner, Sam tells Vivian that she was wrong to accuse Eddie of stealing. Not long after, Eddie gets a phone call he is hired as the school janitor. It's a small success, but it feels huge to Eddie. Sam attends the same school where Eddie now works. Sam finds it easier to make friends with girls than boys. His teacher, Maggie Hayes, cares for him and looks out for him. Some people in the community suggest Vivian should call Child Protective Services to send Sam to foster care. But Vivian is upset by the idea. One morning, Eddie catches Sam watching fairy princess cartoons and playing with dolls. Sam explains that Vivian is still asleep. Eddie senses something is wrong. When he checks, He finds that Vivian has passed away peacefully in her sleep. Vivian's funeral takes place soon after. Many people from the town come to mourn her. For Eddie and Sam, her death leaves a huge emptiness. At work, Eddie's boss tells him to take the next day off to grieve. At home, Sam sits quietly, going through Vivian's makeup bag, missing her deeply. Eddie, feeling overwhelmed, goes to the bar that night to drink. Coming home late, Eddie finds Sam asleep on the couch. The next morning, Eddie wakes him and tells him to pack his things. Confused and scared, Sam follows Eddie to the police station. Eddie explains to his friend Cole that Shelley has been missing for 2 weeks and cannot be reached. As Eddie leaves the station, he sees Sam watching him through the window, looking heartbroken. Eddie cannot leave him behind. He changes his mind and brings Sam back home. Sometimes, doing the right thing means breaking the rules. From that moment, Eddie decides to take responsibility for Sam. Sam shows how independent he is by getting ready for school by himself and catching the bus on time. One afternoon, Maggie comes to check on Sam's living conditions. Eddie feels nervous but tries not to show it. Maggie is kind and leaves her phone number in case Eddie needs help. That evening, Eddie keeps calling Sam's mother, Shell, but she still doesn't answer. Even though Eddie never planned to be a guardian, he feels a strong sense of duty towards Sam. Sam never lets go of his dolls. One evening, he asks Eddie when his mom will return. Eddie sadly admits he doesn't know.
Do you know when my mom is coming back?
No, I wish I did.
I sometimes get mad at my mom for leaving. Do you ever get mad at yours?
I barely knew the woman.
But you knew your daddy.
That's right.
Do you miss him?
That night, after putting Sam to bed, Eddie looks through an old family scrapbook, a bittersweet reminder of who he used to be. It is filled with photos and newspaper articles from when he was a local football hero, but those days are long gone. The next morning, Eddie drives Sam to school. Sam, full of joy, says he loves princess cartoons more than anything else. He proudly shows Eddie his lunchbox decorated with princesses, which his mother had once bought on sale. Later, Lucille calls and asks Eddie if Sam can come over to play with her daughter, Emily. She mentions that Sam thinks of Eddie as his father and wanted to make sure it was okay. Eddie goes to pick Sam up. Lucille invites him inside for a toy tea party. Eddie feels awkward, but joins in politely. He notices again how different Sam is from most boys, but keeps his thoughts to himself. That evening, Eddie takes Sam to a football game. Sitting in the stands, he tells Sam about his own glory days. Maggie is at the game too and suggests they all go bowling together sometime. Meanwhile, Daryl warns Eddie not to get involved with Shelley, calling her trouble. After a fumble during the game, Eddie watches the new football star who broke his old record. He asks Daryl if he knows where the people involved in his past mistakes are now. Daryl tells Eddie to forget about them, believing Eddie was wrongly imprisoned. Later, Sam tries copying the cheerleaders' dance moves. After dropping Sam off at home, Eddie returns to the bar. There, Daryl, drunk and loud, causes trouble. Mr. Sibbs, the bar owner, kicks them out, and Eddie helps Daryl leave. The next morning, Sam wakes Eddie up excitedly. It's the day they are going bowling with Maggie. Sam has a great time while Eddie and Maggie talk. Eddie shares that he went to college for a year before his life took a wrong turn. Maggie opens up about her failed marriage and her return home to be near family. Slowly, Eddie becomes more confident as Sam's guardian. At work, he apologizes to Mr. Sibbs for Daryl's behavior. Principal Forbes also checks in with Sam to make sure he feels safe at home.
I saw that Mr. Palmer gave you a ride to school this morning. Does he always do that?
Yes, sir.
And he lives right next door to you, is that right?
His house is right beside my mom's trailer.
And he's always nice to you? And everything's okay?
Mm-hmm.
As part of his parole, Eddie has to report to the police station regularly. Sam, curious, asks why Eddie has to go there. Eddie, with sadness, explains that a long time ago, he tried to steal money that wasn't his and had to pay a heavy price for that mistake. Eddie's honesty with Sam shows his desire to be a better role model. Sam also admits something important. He once stole a toy from a classmate and now feels very guilty about it. I stole too. You did, huh? You think that person misses what you took? I know she does. She cried in class. Miss Maggie asked if anyone had seen it and I said no. Oh, so you lied too. You think that little girl would feel better if she got back what you stole. Meanwhile, Eddie finds a new purpose in life. For the first time in a long time, he feels needed by someone. This feeling gives him the strength and motivation to keep moving forward. For the first time, Eddie has something and someone to fight for. The next morning, Eddie and Sam prepare breakfast together. Eddie doesn't want Sam to eat only biscuits because it's unhealthy. Following Eddie's advice, Sam bravely returns the stolen toy to its owner. Not long after, Sam's birthday party takes place. Maggie and Emily also come to celebrate with him warmly. Eddie surprises Sam with a ukulele as a birthday gift. Sam is very happy to receive it, even though he isn't very interested in music. While the children play, Maggie quietly asks Danny about his mother. Danny shares that his mom ran away when he was just 5 years old, and Vivian later stepped in to raise him like her own child. Hearing this, Maggie decides to help Eddie sort through the old mail at the house. Among the letters, they find one from a lawyer asking Eddie to contact him about Vivian's will. It turns out that Vivian left her house and all her belongings to the church. This creates a new obstacle for Eddie, increasing his uncertainty about the future. Eddie is shocked by the news. After the house is sold, he will only have 30 days to move out. Meanwhile, Sam's classmates bully him because he looks different. Seeing this, Eddie immediately defends Sam. The bullies become very scared of Eddie's strong presence. Later at home, Sam tells Eddie that he wants to write a letter to the Fairy Princess show to become a participant. Penelope the princess said if you write their show a letter, you can join their club. They even give you a certificate. Can you write me one? Look, there's things in this world you can be, and there's things you can't, okay? How many boys do you see on that show? None. Eddie tries to change Sam's mind, explaining that the show is mostly for girls, but Sam is sure there's nothing wrong with it and stays determined. At the store, Sam excitedly picks out a princess costume for Halloween. Eddie again tries to explain that it might not be suitable, but it doesn't stop Sam. An old woman at the store accuses Eddie of being a bad person and says he shouldn't be looking after Sam. This moment touches Eddie deeply. It shows him that Sam truly believes he is a good man, and this helps Eddie believe in himself too. Later, in class, Sam proudly tells his teacher that he will dress up as Princess Penelope for the Halloween party. Eddie tries but fails to convince him otherwise and finally accepts Sam's decision. At the party, the other kids tease Sam and call him Samantha. Just then, the teacher enters the room dressed as Mr. Forbes, showing support for Sam. This supportive gesture from the teacher shows the importance of acceptance. That evening, Maggie invites Eddie and Sam over for dinner. Sam looks cheerful and enjoys eating sweets. Gathering her courage, Maggie asks Eddie about his time in prison. It is very hard for Eddie to talk about it, but he finds the strength to share. He explains that he used to be a star player on his university's football team. After a serious injury, doctors told him he could never play again. Eddie fell into a deep depression, returned home, and started living irresponsibly. There was a boy in his group who often bragged that his father kept lots of money in a safe. One day, they decided to rob the house. But the father came home early. In a panic, Eddie attacked him, making the worst mistake of his life. Later that night, Sam falls asleep, and Maggie suggests Eddie spend the night at her place.
Are you tired?
No.
The next day after school, Emily invites Sam to her house again, making Sam very happy. During a break after school, Eddie searches online for how to become Sam's legal guardian. Later, he visits Maggie's class and asks for her help, saying he wants to donate Vivian's belongings to charity. Suddenly, Sam runs inside crying Daryl had hurt him.
What the hell is going on?
I don't even know. I left him for a bit. They were playing dress up, and when I came back, he had makeup smeared all over his face, and he was crying. I don't even know what happened. I'm sorry.
Furious, Eddie rushes out to find Daryl. Although Maggie tries to stop him, Eddie cannot hold back. He finds Daryl at a bar. When Daryl calls Sam abnormal, Eddie attacks him. Eddie's violent reaction shows that his old anger still lingers beneath the surface. Other men have to pull him away. Eddie also threatens Cole, the police officer who stood by and did nothing for the little boy. When Eddie gets back home, Maggie realizes what happened. She sadly tells Eddie that violence is never the answer. Disappointed that Eddie hasn't changed, Maggie leaves. The next morning, Eddie gently tells Sam that none of this is his fault. Daryl is simply a bad person. Wanting to cheer him up, Eddie helps him write a letter to the Fairy Princess show supporting Sam's dream for the first time. Here's what we got so far. Dear Penelope's Flying Princess Club, did I get that right? My name is Sam, and I would very much like to be a member. Make sure you tell them how much I love their show and watch it every day. I watch your show, and I love it more. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Sam's biological mother, Shelley, appears looking very sick. She has come to take her son back. Naturally, Sam is heartbroken. Eddie promises Sam that he can visit anytime. Sam hugs Eddie tightly, not wanting to let go. Eddie feels crushed but understands that Sam belongs with his mother. When Shelley sees the ukulele, she realizes with guilt that she even forgot her son's birthday. She quickly lies, saying she bought him a gift too. Eddie, feeling empty, throws himself into work to distract himself. Later, Eddie tells Maggie that Shelley's returned. Their talk does not go well. Feeling lost, Eddie goes to a bar but decides not to drink. The next morning, he finds Sam sitting sadly on the porch. Sam tells Eddie that Jerry, Shelley's boyfriend, threw away his lunchbox and called him a disgrace. Eddie comforts Sam and drives him to school. Sam also tells Eddie that soon, he and his mother will move in with Jerry and that he'll have to change schools. All day, Eddie thinks about the situation. Watching Jerry, Eddie realizes he is just as bad as Shelley. That same day, Eddie receives shocking news. Child Protective Services has taken Sam away. Shelley cries and explains what happened. Eddie rushes to the station, where an officer tells him a court hearing will decide if Sam returns to Shelley or goes to an orphanage. In the evening, Eddie visits Shelley's trailer and begs her to give custody to him. "Why are you here, huh? What's this?" "A legal guardian form. You'd be signing Sam over to my care." "Why the hell would I do that?" "Because unless you get clean, I don't see the courts giving him back to you." Shelley gets angry, believing Eddie is no better than her and is trying to buy her son from her. Eddie warns that the court will likely not return Sam to her because of her bad lifestyle. Shelley screams that she'll quit her bad habits for Sam and throws Eddie out. With no other option, Eddie asks Maggie for help. She agrees to go with him to court. At the hearing, the judge says he sees that Eddie has changed, but Eddie needs stable housing and must finish his probation before applying for custody. Tearfully, Eddie says he just wants to care for Sam because he knows what it feels like to be abandoned. Still, the judge dismisses his request.
My decision is that the boy will remain under the care of the state. He will be placed in a registered foster home until the mother is well enough to regain custody.
Your Honor, she's a drug addict. That ain't gonna happen.
But for now, I'm sorry. I have to deny your request for temporary custody.
Don't do this. I know what it feels like to be left alone.
Suddenly, Shelley bursts into the courtroom, begging the judge to give her back her son. She insists that Sam is a special boy who struggles with making friends and needs his mother. Feeling sympathy, the judge rules in Shelley's favor. Every day afterward, Eddie hears Shelley and Jerry arguing. When Eddie realizes Shelley is falling back into her bad ways, he makes a bold decision. He takes Sam and drives far away. At a gas station, Eddie calls Maggie and learns that Shelley has reported him to the police. Now a fugitive, Eddie promises Sam that everything will be okay. Eventually, Eddie turns himself in. His decision to surrender shows his deep understanding of right and wrong. Officer Cole, understanding the situation, arranges for Sam to stay with Maggie for now. As the police take Eddie away, Sam runs after the car, crying. He yells at his mother, saying she never really loved him. Eddie tries not to cry. Back in jail, Eddie feels sad and hopeless. But then Officer Cole brings good news. Shelley told the truth. She said she had asked Eddie to take Sam to get food. Because of this, the police drop all charges against Eddie. Feeling hopeful again, Eddie goes to see Maggie, who is taking care of Sam. Soon, Shelley comes too, but Sam won't talk to her. "You think I'm a terrible mother?" "Hi, Sammy. Hi, baby." Shelley realizes she hasn't been a good mom. Even though she loves Sam, she decides to let Eddie take full custody. She knows Sam will have a better life with him. At the end, Shelley and Sam say a tearful goodbye. Now, Eddie can finally become Sam's real father. Things start to get better. Eddie is doing well at work, and he and Sam are getting ready to move out of Vivian's house. As the movie ends, they find a letter in the mailbox. It's from the Fairy Princess show. "I've never got mail before. Open it, see what it says." Sam's face lights up with happiness. Together, they begin a new chapter in their lives, as the story ends with a sad but hopeful feeling. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.